You want to know what a real sports bettor is betting on in week 7 in college football? In this video, you're going to find out. He's Eddie Walls. Eddie, what is your best bet on the board this week, my friend?
It's going to be game 194. We're going Texas State over. I got to tell you, I've watched a lot of Texas State this year, and one thing is for certain is their offense is absolutely killer. I do not believe that G.J. Kinney really cares about his defense that much, though. Up 22-0 against Sam Houston State. They lose that game. This guy just wants to get out there and call as many plays as possible. Arkansas State has a legit quarterback with a legit arm. They have an NFL wide receiver in Rucker. This game last year got crazy, 77-31. Arkansas State was having a really bad season. They turned it around in this game. They did something that is going to probably cause some bad blood here. They kicked an onside kick up 28 points in the second half. They went for 2. There's probably going to be an opportunity, if Texas State gets it, to run this score all the way up. There's definitely bad blood between the coaches. I don't think these teams like each other very much. I don't think that either team has that great of a defense. I think both teams can put a ton of points on the board. It was kind of a slam dunk for me pretty early in the week, and I was surprised the number kind of held.
Love it. So there you have it. Texas State over 64 at Arkansas State. Eddie is 5-1 on the RAS College Football Show. So if you've been enjoying the show so far, I don't know why you wouldn't. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below. And if you're looking for more, make sure you head over to raspicks.com. Good time to head over and get that Betting Talk subscription where you can expect 65 plus releases a year for Betting Talk members, NFL props, FCS, which I'm told are probable this weekend, college football sides, totals, second halves, NBA preseason, and some NBA regular season. That's all at Betting Talk. Best bang for your buck, $29.99 a month. Again, head over to raspicks.com for more information. Okay, Eddie, as we always do, my friend, we go through the biggest games of the week. And as you said before the show, this week's a banger. This is a banger of a week in college football. So let's get right to it. Let's start with, what is this called? The Red River Shootout here. Texas versus Oklahoma. Texas laying 14, total of 50.5, Eddie.
Yeah. I've bet this game over 6 years in a row, and it's been very good to me. This is the exception, though. I don't know what Oklahoma has on defense. I think that their defense is much improved, probably comparatively to what I thought they would be, but they still haven't faced a real quarterback. They're going to face one this weekend. I also had questions about Texas's run defense, but it's looked very, very impressive. Mind you, that might be opponent-based. They really shut down Michigan, though, and not a lot of teams have been able to do that until maybe last weekend with Washington. I don't have anything on this game. I really think that Texas is a superior team. I'm not really comfortable laying 14 or 14.5 on a game like this. I have plenty of plays this week. This just wasn't one that I felt really comfortable with.
Yeah, understandable. I do just love this Texas team long term, though, for the season. You know, you have Alabama losing to Vandy over the weekend. Georgia obviously has already gone down. I think this Texas team is probably still not getting enough love as a title team. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are getting enough love, but yeah. I'm trying to find the holes. I haven't quite seen them yet, Eddie.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. We got some big ones this week. I mean, these are as big as it gets. Yeah. Ohio State on the road in Eugene at Oregon. This was 3.5. It's now down to 3 with a total of 53.5 here, Eddie. What do we think?
Yeah, I played over 53. I think that Ohio State has a much better offense than last year. I don't think it's even to be questioned. Chip Kelly makes a hell of a difference. They play with pace. They mix and match run and pass pretty well. Jeremiah Smith, who's going to cover that guy. Abuka's probably the alpha in the room. Still very, very good. Oregon's not going to be able to run the ball. So you're going to have to pass. They pass pretty effectively, even though it's short yardage. I just couldn't get to this number. I was 56, 57. And the more I looked at it, the more I liked it. Noel, the defensive coordinator for Ohio State, he loves to blitz. So you're going to get opportunities as Oregon to beat that blitz. Dylan Gabriel's been shaky in the red zone is my only concern. I do think that 3 is a short number. I'm not going to lie to you, but I made it like 3.5, 4. So it wasn't a
Right.
lot of value there.
Right.
What about you? You got anything on the side here?
No, I mean, I'm conflicted a little bit, just because this is Ohio. It's a step up for Ohio State relative to what they've been doing. But this Oregon team, I just sort of think back to last year. It's not the operation that it was a year ago. It's still good, potentially great, but it's just not nearly the juggernaut it feels like that it was under Bo Nix. And so, yeah, this is a pass for me, Eddie. Nothing for me.
The thing that really stood out to me is that Boise is pretty goddamn efficient for sure.
Yeah.
But they really, really struggled against the pass of Boise. It wasn't Genty that beat him, if you remember.
Yep.
It was a 5'10" quarterback that was, getting small passes, turning them into big games. Yeah, I don't know. I see problems with the Oregon, and I can't find a weakness in Ohio State. I really can't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, do I want to put real money on a side that looks super public, that not that I care about that kind of thing. I always thought that thing was stupid and overrated, public money. But I just feel like, it just has to be priced in at this point, and then we're just going 3, 3.5, I show 4. How far can my number really be off? So
Exactly. All right, going to the SEC. Ole Miss in Baton Rouge, chalk -3.5 with a total of 62 on the road at LSU. Eddie, what's your thoughts here?
Okay, this was probably going to be my best bet until we got the injury news. If the All-American wide receiver, whose name's somehow escaping me, doesn't play, then this number might be right. But I want you to think about something. LSU last year was 134th in pass defense. They didn't hit the portal and attack that. They didn't maybe have the funds to do so. I've been waiting for LSU to play against a real quarterback with pace all season long. And same goes for Mississippi. I have major, major concerns about their secondary, and they haven't faced a quarterback at all yet. That's going to change pretty quickly here. So I think that the over is a great play. I mean, I make this 66, 67, but I mean, we're talking about a wide receiver that might be worth 3 to 4 points. I'm sorry, 2 to 3 points. I don't think any wide receiver is worth more than that. I mean, he's just a humongous difference maker. So if he plays, 62 is definitely not the right number. If he doesn't play, then it's probably close to the right number, maybe 63.5. I don't know. I just think that Nussmeier can get a lot of things done against this Mississippi secondary that we really haven't seen face anybody. Who's the best quarterback that Ole Miss has faced so far? Maybe Bachmeier at Ole Miss? I mean, at Wake Forest?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a total step up for that defense. And they have weapons at LSU at wide receiver. Everybody thinks that Neighbors and Hill leaving. Man, they went out and got Liberty's best wide receiver. They had guys in the tank that were 4- and 5-star guys.
Yep.
So I think that this game, if it's played injury-free, is probably much, much higher. So I really like over 62, regardless of the injury.
Yep.
If he plays, then, I'll probably add a little.
Yeah, Trey Harris is the receiver.
Harris, thank you so much. God, I can't believe I was escaping that. Another thing of note is that LSU is a very, very difficult place to play, especially at night. So I don't really mind the dog here. It's just my numbers don't really support it. Right. And that probably has the fact that LSU has legitimately played one team so far, and that was USC in week 0 or 1 or whatever it was. Both these schedules, I mean, I think that you're getting a lot of under money based on who they've played. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Ole Miss's defense has solved everything by beating up on Georgia Southern and playing against the Kentuckys of the world. But I don't know. I just can't see it.
Yeah, no, I actually think it's a great call out because, I think people might be a little bit deceived by that that USC game first week of the season. I mean, we all know that should have been, 100, right? I mean, that was just freaky stuff that kept that game from going under. And like you said, I could tell it was your best bet because it sounds like a best bet. It just sounds like a good bet when you go through, the things that Ole Miss has and has not seen this year. They're going to be stress tested in a way and that they haven't been. And I never mind lane overs. So I'm in. All right, moving right along. Penn State at USC. This is actually a right angle release on the total at 48. It's now 50.5. Penn State -4.5 on the road. I'll just ask it. Still anything at 50.5 on an over, or at this point is the value gone?
Yeah, I think it's mostly gone. I made it 51.5. I thought that on our call, Jeff made probably one of the better points on this game that I hadn't really considered until he said it. How can USC at Minnesota be 46 and then Penn State at USC at Minnesota 46 and then Penn State at USC 48? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Right.
And we haven't seen Penn State face a real passing quarterback since Bazelak. And Bazelak actually kind of tore him up. I mean, Altmaier likes to get out there and run a lot, and it's kind of intermediate. Miller Moss is going to have to throw for a lot of yards in this game. He's going to have to make a lot of passing attempts. I can't really find any superlative to why anybody would like the under, other than the fact that Penn State's D line is pretty damn good, and maybe USC's D line is really bad, and they can just shorten the game by playing super slow and running methodically. But I think there's a lot of explosive plays up for grabs in this game.
Yeah. So there you have it. Penn State at USC, again, writing a release at 48.5.
What do you think of that side really quick?
I mean, I like Penn State.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like this USC operation has been, it's been a tough transition, to a brand new league, a much more physical league. Lincoln Riley's record, over the last 2 years, I don't know if they're getting what they pay for with that USC administration. So I like Penn State in the game. I mean, I know they kind of dragged their dragged ass a little bit last week against UCLA, but I just sort of do. I like Penn State in the game. Is that crazy? Is that to want to lay road chalk here?
No, I mean, I get it. I feel like when everybody likes the same side in these kind of games, I start looking at the dog.
No, I get it.
I'm like, it's like, how can like the number really hasn't moved that much, but everybody's supposedly betting it. Every sharp I know is on Penn State, but like, where's the money coming from? You know what I mean? Like,
no, true.
I mean, like, it's not 7, it's not 6.5. We're pretty much steady here. And I mean, Penn State really doesn't have quite the resume yet. I mean, this is probably their first real test. Yep. And it's a long road trip. This is definitely the best quarterback they faced, definitely the best talent they faced.
Yep.
I mean, I could make a case for USC at this point. I just find it interesting that everybody I know, like, legitimately, I haven't heard a single person say like, yeah, I like USC this week. So I don't know.
Yeah, that is interesting. But two good teams. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? I mean, you're supposed to have a number that's pretty good at this point in the season. All right, Kansas State at Colorado. Kansas State -3.5, total of 56.5. These Colorado Buffaloes. Does Deion have something cooking in Boulder, Eddie?
I mean, he definitely does. I mean, he probably has two of the best, weapons maybe in college football. 2 definitely first-round draft picks. I'm on under, and it's one of my bigger plays this week, and I'll break it down for you. I think that Colorado's run defense is spectacularly better than what we were giving them credit for. And I think that what they did at UCF is kind of a mirror of what Kansas State runs. It's a lot of running quarterback, a lot of everything that they try to mirror. The passing attack for Kansas State is kind of pedestrian, let's face it. I mean, the quarterback is still very, very young. They don't really have the weapons that are going to hurt you. And then on the opposite side, Kansas State plays very, very methodically. This is the best pass defense that Colorado has faced so far this year. It's probably not close, other than maybe Nebraska. Nebraska's maybe a little bit on the same page there. Yeah, my numbers are significantly lower. I'm in the 52.5, 53 range. I know a couple of people who like over, and they try to spell it out for me, and it just didn't add up for me. So sticking to my guns there. 56.5 under is a bet for me. What about you? Do you like Kansas State here?
I like Kansas State generally, but I'm a little reluctant because conventional wisdom is telling me that this Colorado team is different. I mean, they really do look like they've upgraded the trenches. And at what point do I say I'm getting a future top 10 draft pick at quarterback? I'm getting a future top 10 draft pick at whatever he decides he wants to play. And I'm just going to ignore the getting points in that scenario, right? So, I think just based on what I've seen from Kansas State, I like them a lot. And I think, the coaching staff is really good, but, there is a talent discussion at some point too, isn't there? I mean, These are 2 of the best players in college football.
It's really hard to bet against them. Sure.
Yeah.
I will say though, I mean, like I did not make this number 3, and that looks like where it's about to be heading, and that gets me very interested. I mean, we just got done talking about. I mean, who's going to win the line of scrimmage battle here? It's probably Kansas State. They probably have the better offensive line, defensive line. I just told you that they can probably run very methodically. They're not going to be playing faster than maybe 28 seconds per snap.
Right.
So yeah, no, I don't think that there's much reason for me to think that like 3 is the right number. It's just not. Like, what's this number 2 weeks ago before they play at BYU and losing that really terrible way? I mean, what's this number if Baylor hangs on against Colorado for the fourth quarter? I don't know. I really don't know what the right number is, but I know my number's not 3.
Well, and when you think about the games, particularly that Colorado struggled with last year, it was definitely where, and I guess it makes sense, but it was definitely where you knew there was a significant interior line disadvantage. I mean, that's where, so if that's what we're dealing with here, but man, it's just like when you have Shedeur and Travis, like you're just never out of a game. That's
absolutely.
So I don't know. But I do like your underthought there because if you're going to be talking about running the ball and lean on that line, that's what it looks like. So anyway, before we get out of here, got to give you my best bet. Show was 2-0 last week.
You've been on fire.
Doing the best we can, man.
I'm not just talking about the fact that you're like won 2 weeks in a row. It's the margin of victory. I don't ever have wins that go like,
we're sweating over here.
Hang on, I got to suffer through 2 overtimes or something. Like
that's
you're just
exactly
over here
right.
just banging 30-point margins of victory.
Yeah, Texas State was a no sweat winner last week. That was fun. I enjoy those a lot. We're gonna hope to get another one from another team from Texas with North Texas -6.5, -115. This is at FAU, which is coming off of basically a double bye because they played Wagner and then they had an off week. But here's the deal: this quarterback Fancher is one of the worst in college football as far as I'm concerned. Totally. I just don't think he's good, and he's a turnover prone. And now he's playing hurt. He's got a thumb or something or other, and so he already threw picks with a healthy thumb. Now he's got an injured thumb. This North Texas team switched from it was a 3-3-5, that scheme that everybody kind of carves up in college football. They switched from that to a more traditional 3-4 scheme 2 weeks ago, and they've allowed, I believe, only 27 points in 2 games. They were up a million on Tulsa. I think they had held them to 3 through 3 quarters last week. And this Chandler Morris is just dominating the AAC level. I think the argument for FAU, Eddie, might be that, they looked so good against Michigan State. Well, what does that really mean? I mean, what it's not like that offense is by any means potent. It's pretty anemic in and of itself. So I think North Texas could go into FAU. They've got some real momentum. They're scoring points in bunches. Quarterback's dominating. I like the touchdown. And if we get Damon Ward, the receiver, in this one, I like it even more. So inside a touchdown, give me the mean green of North Texas -6.5, 15. So we will look to keep it rolling, my friend, this week. That's going to do it for another edition of the Right Angle Sports College Football Show. Obviously, we'll be back every single week throughout the college football season, and we'll have actually something else here soon, hopefully, to announce. So keep it locked here on the RAS YouTube channel. As always, Eddie, best of luck, my friend, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Good luck to everyone.